I'm Ayres Martinez. I am a fourth-year veterinary student here at Western University, which means I am part of the class of 2026. I'm going into my fourth-year rotations, which means I get to go all over and learn about a bunch of different types of veterinary medicine. Most importantly, my career goal is to go into zoo medicine. So I have quite a few externships and rotations lined up at different zoos and wildlife facilities across the country. Here at Western University, an externship is an outside rotation that we plan on our own time. So I just completed one at the Indianapolis Zoo during my break between third and fourth year, where I was able to be part of their clinical team, working with their veterinarians and vet techs and zookeepers, curators, all of the important people, learning a lot about zoo and wildlife medicine while getting a hands-on experience there. Here at Western, we have the ability to do not only externships outside of the curriculum, but also our rotations during our clinical years, where we get to go to different practices and experience what different facets of veterinary medicine are like. So for me, I'm doing a lot of my rotations this year focused on zoo, wildlife, aquatics, and exotic medicine, and getting to learn a little bit about each of those different specialties, where ultimately, for my career goal of going into a zoo medicine field, I hopefully will be able to make connections and learn a little bit more about what it's like to be a veterinarian working in those different fields. You get up and usually pretty early, and you join the team wherever you're working, whether that is at a small animal practice or at a zoo, and go to rounds, learn about what's happening during the day, participate in any sort of procedures, exams, checkups on the animals. In my most recent externship, where I was at the Indianapolis Zoo, I was hands-on. It's a great program. So a typical day for me as an extern was to get up and get to the vet hospital at the zoo around 8 a.m., where we had a meeting and we talked about all of the different things that were going on for the day, maybe things that came up the night before, or animals that needed to be checked on, or if we had procedures that were coming up, what we needed to prepare. After rounds, the team will kind of divide and conquer and go out across the zoo to deal with any sort of procedures, checkups, medication refills that the animals need. So that can be everything from just watching a parrot fly across the front entrance, all the way to doing a full anesthesia procedure on a large animal, such as like a giraffe or a rhino. So every single day is different, which is why I really like zoo medicine. Not every day is the same. You're seeing different species. A lot of stuff is not fully researched or understood. So there is a little bit of MacGyvering when it comes to, oh, now we have a giraffe, how do we intubate it? Well, you can't use like a normal intubation tube, so they actually have companies that make them specifically for large animals like giraffes. And I really like that dynamic environment, which is what drew me to go back to the zoo world as a veterinarian. Something that's really cool about most AZA zoos is that a lot of their animals are trained to participate in medical behaviors. So for example, an elephant that may need radiographs of their foot, the vet techs or the veterinarians will go down and work on training that animal to put their foot out or onto a platform so that they don't need to be anesthetized or sedated, and they can actually voluntarily participate in any of their medical care. So that's something that I really like about it, is the ability for the animals to choose whether or not they want to participate in any sort of medical procedures. Obviously, zoos have a wide variety of different species, and it's hard to pick just one that's a favorite, but animals that I really do enjoy spending a lot of time with are animals like marine mammals or ambassador animals, because they do participate a lot in their medical care due to the training that they have with their trainers. There's a lot of relationship building. So they really need to trust whoever their trainer or their keeper is in order to get good x-rays or physical exams. And you don't necessarily need to anesthetize them completely like you would, say, a tiger in order to do a full physical exam on them. When comparing zoo medicine to traditional veterinary medicine, say with domestic species like dogs and cats, there are a ton of similarities and there's also a ton of differences. One thing that I find particularly interesting between the two is that the barriers to care are slightly different. So while in client-owned pets, you do have a financial barrier for each individual animal, whereas in zoo medicine, there still is a financial aspect involved. However, it's a more all-encompassing what can the hospital afford on a year-to-year basis. So it's challenging, but in different ways for the veterinarians to come up with ways to help the animals and be able to provide the best medical care possible. One of my favorite things about working with zoo animals and the medicine aspect of it is that every single day is different and there's quite a variety of different animals. One thing that I found extremely valuable was seeing how much domestic animal medicine, dogs, cats, cows, horses, parallels that to zoo medicine, whether that is a flamingo, a walrus, or an elephant. Everything that we learn with our domestics does apply to our exotic and our zoo species. After this year, once I graduate, my goal is to continue pursuing a career in zoo medicine, which is going to involve internships and residencies, with my ultimate goal being an ACZM board certification in zoo medicine, and hopefully move into a role as a veterinarian at a AZA accredited zoo. Advice that I have for future veterinarians is to go out and get experience wherever you can, whether that is volunteering at a humane shelter, hands-on with domestics, getting a part-time job, working at a stable with large animals like horses or even cattle, or even doing what I did and becoming a zookeeper for a few years before deciding to go to veterinary school. Any hands-on experience with animals that you possibly can get is probably the most valuable thing in order to get into veterinary school. Advice that I have for first and second years is make sure you build your network. And especially if you want to go into zoo medicine, a lot of it is making sure that you have a team of people that are there to support you. So whether that is building relationships with your professors here at Western, or spending your summers going out to different zoos or practices and developing relationships with clinicians working in the field that you want to get into. It's so important to build those relationships and network so that once you're out of school, or even building your fourth year curriculum, you have a team of people that are there to help you and support you to get you where you want to go.